Does anyone have a question?
Stuart, it's Paula. I have a question regarding opening our hearts and surrendering our hearts to God more. I find it's a very vulnerable, open space. And I just wanted to ask you about being protected from, say, not benevolent energies or spirits when we open that vulnerable heart.
But Paula and everyone else, I mean, it's something I talk about all the time. To just open the heart by itself will give you no protection. People will take advantage of you. People will, say nasty things and do stupid things. You know, uh, I mean, the whole secret to all of this is being grounded inside. You understand? Having your mind focused below the navel, being centered. So when the heart opens, you really have rootedness inside. You have strength to keep it open. And if people do, nasty and idiotic things, you have the inner strength to be able to allow them to just bounce off you. But if you just, a lot of teachers teach you just open the heart. And I understand their thinking. You understand the heart is the seat of love. God is love. We need to learn how to love. But the heart is not going to stay open unless it has foundation, grounding inside. So the whole practice that I teach and Rudy taught was the primary element was to build an inner foundation, because we have to get the heart open, but we need to be strong enough inside to be able to keep the heart open without getting slaughtered by life. So the answer to your question is the things I talk about all the time. You need to get grounded. Otherwise, forget about it. I mean, you can open the heart. I mean, I had students years ago used to come to me, I meditate. They used to do transcendental meditation. I meditate, and I feel so calm in my house. And as soon as I go out on the streets, I freak out. And that's not what this is about. What it is about is building a system so that whether you're meditating, you're on the bus, you're in a car, you're in the subway, wherever you are grounded. And whatever stuff goes on, you have the inner strength to be able to deal with it and keep your heart open. So this is a very important aspect of our work. And it's something, I don't know, I feel like a broken record. I talk about it so much. But I think it gets back to the very foundation of Rudy's teachings, the very base of everything he taught. Because none of it works. It's like trying to build a building without a foundation. The whole thing is it's like it's like paper cards, house of cards. The wind comes along and blows the building down. It's like in my book, Navigating the River, I talk about a tree. If the roots are healthy, it doesn't matter if a hurricane comes, it's not going to blow the tree over. When the roots are not healthy, a tropical storm, a wind, or whatever it is, it'll blow the tree over. And we are no different. These are just metaphors for the very nature of the way people live, because they live, constantly in the head, in the heart. And those places, there's no grounding. So that's how you keep the heart open. I mean, it's such an important factor, because until we learn to live here and be happy people, forget about it. And it's not happiness only in, environments that are conducive to us being happy. It's wherever we are. I mean, somebody sent me a text today about some poet who wrote, I go to the forest and I'm alone so I can really find my inner self, you know? And yeah, great. But once you say I go to the supermarket and I can be with my inner self. I can go on the train, the subways, the buses, this, and I can be quiet and I can understand that God manifestation is in every single thing we do and everything that exists around us. And that we don't have to be in special places in order to be happy people. This is a delusion that people live with, wherever we are. I mean, I always tell you that story when I was running my gallery in New York. I had people all the time. I'm going to Machu Picchu. I'm going to Stonehenge. I'm going to the Himalaya mountains. It's where I'm going to find God. I'm going to find happiness. I got so sick of it that I just said, look, the most sacred place on earth is wherever you are. Wherever you are, it's holy, it's sacred. And I think this is a kind of reality that people have to come to terms with. We cannot protect ourselves against all the different aspects of life and think that we're having a spiritual life because the environment, is somehow conducive for us being a little less tense. We have to build systems that allows us to function in every area of life. And that's why just focusing on the heart center is not enough. We have to be grounded. And the chi, the power in the third chakra is what grounds people, what gives them the strength to do. Keep the heart open, keep the mind quiet, understand, channel sexual energy so that it activates Kundalini. All of that is possible if we are focused in the third chakra. If we have built that kind of inner strength. And then you can be vulnerable without getting hurt. People are so afraid to be vulnerable, but you got to be vulnerable. We have to allow life to come into us, teach us, but we need the strength to keep from being demolished by it.
Thank you, Stuart. That was amazing. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And now start applying it, doing it, for God's sake. Does anyone else have a question you would like to ask? Look, I discovered the only real security in this life is a connection with spirit. And if I can't ground myself and be centered, I'll never truly have that connection. Because even that energy, the energy of God, spirit, whatever it's so powerful that it can burn people up if they aren't have that foundation in themselves. Or it turns them into a spiritual hors d'oeuvre, And I can't think of anything more horrible than being afraid to leave the comfort of a place that we think is secure for us. It's living in a frightened world. And honestly, it's why I stopped running ashrams. I didn't want, people hiding out in a place, because most people that were living in those places were afraid to go out, and deal with life. And I learned from Rudy and I learned from my own inner work. The real temple is life. And an ashram has only one purpose. That's to help people get strong enough so they can live consciously in life's temple. That's his purpose. They should kick everybody out after a while. So they go out into life and learn how to recognize that all of God's creation is sacred. Does anyone else have a question they would like?
I have a question, Stuart. In Leia, it's very vivid when you talk about the colors, the blue, the gold, the light, when you're working with her. So it's first, I just wanted you to expand on that because I can feel it when I'm reading it in the book. It's palpable when you talk about those lights. At the same time, I'm curious, when you're in that meditative state, are you visualizing them, or how are you in the hara and seeing light without being in your head? So if you could just give some context to that energy, I would appreciate it.
Wendy, dear, okay. Look, I mean, look, everybody has an aura of light around them. Everybody has light emanating. Some people's light is very bright, white, golden light. Other people have gray, dark energy surrounding them. Everybody has it. You open inside and you see it. And to open inside, you got to be in the hara. You have to be, the chakra system has to be working. But what is that? How does that keep you from seeing what is going on around you? And when I work with you all, there's light, there's radiance that comes out of some sort from every person sitting in the class. And it's not something I have to manufacture or look for, it's just there, And you just open and you tune into it. And a lot of that is real guidance about the kind of teachings people need in order to grow. You can see where the dark spots are inside them. And that's, it's not being in the hara, being in the head, that's all in your head, I mean, it's being centered and opening and having the chakra system truly working inside. And then that enables one to be able to perceive these things. I mean, you could truly, if you're really open inside, you can look at another human being and based upon their behavior at this moment, you can see what the rest of their life is going to be all about. I mean, literally, you can see the plane that they are living on. Now, if a person is working on themselves and changing and grow, you can see that too. And it's very difficult to project that kind of person, what they're going to do with the rep, because they're growing and changing and working on themselves. But you see that in somebody, and that really needs to be nurtured. So all of this is a product of developing a really strong chakra system, and you're not going to develop a really strong chakra system if you don't build that inner foundation. I don't care what anybody teaches, I'm not interested in this stuff because I know how my life grew and what made it possible for me to do in my life what I've done. And that's my realm of experience. And also I had my head broken 100 times a day by Rudy teaching me this stuff, testing me all the time to see if I can get above certain situations by going to the right places inside myself. And it worked, to God's sake. And the place I always used to go to was the hara, and then the heart. And Nityananda used to come out of my heart. Rudy would come out of all of these great beings live there. We have to get grounded, open the heart, and let them come and guide us. And we all need guidance. Everyone needs guidance. And the guidance is inside each and every one of us. Understand? But they are waiting, it's waiting for us to build a system to open so we can, get beyond just, neurosis and anxiety and fear and insecurity and all that other stuff. Yeah, the book Leia is a very good example of working with light, with color, with auras, trying to heal somebody. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? I mean, people that teach just open the heart, they have the right idea, but they need to teach the craft of how to do it. Not just focus here, because this is mush, it's emotion. But you need the craft. And meditation is simply a craft. That's all it is. There's no big deal, It's not a spiritual life. Meditation is a craft that can teach you how to have a spiritual life if you learn it properly. Does anyone else have a question you'd like to ask? And just let me repeat that. Meditation is not a spiritual life. Because one meditates, that doesn't mean they're having a spiritual life. Meditation is simply the craft that can develop a system inside that will enable a human being to have a spiritual life. And that is why it's so essential for people to do it. Because whatever we learn in life, there's a craft involved. There's a craft. You want to be an artist, there's a craft. Musician, there's a craft. A lawyer, a doctor, a botanist, or whatever you want to learn in life, there's a craft. And meditation is probably the craft that most people overlook in their lifetime, because it makes you deal with the deepest part of your inner self. And that's very hard for people to deal with. But it's just a craft. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? So all I'm trying to do is help you all develop the craft. Because once you get the craft and develop that craft, there's no end to the amount of growth that can take place inside a human being. No end to it. Because it connects you to what's infinite in the universe. And that's where the spiritual life is. Because you draw that energy down, and that energy begins to guide you while you're living on the earth. Does anyone else have a question? Okay, so I'll repeat it again. There won't be a class tomorrow. I have to go and have that, procedure done. And but there will be a class on Wednesday. And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. God bless you for putting up with Stuart and my stuff. And God bless you and thank you. As I always say, and I really mean this from my heart, that this is an amazing education for me, and I'm just so grateful that people come and we can, really share this amazing depth of inner work together. It's extraordinary. People from literally all over the world come. And it's just, to me, I'm just very grateful to be part of this. So thank you all and God bless you all. And there'll be meditation again on Wednesday evening.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stuart. Good night.
You're
Thank
welcome,
you, Stuart, very much.
Thank you.
everybody.